Recording. Okay, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to Polite on Society, the podcast edition. This evening, I am speaking with Terry Beard, and I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much. I am grateful. Thank you so much for having me. Very humbled.
Okay, awesome. So, I was reading over your story and learning about your background, and I was really inspired about how uh, you faced certain health situations and things like that, and you used it as a way for motivation. So what I want to start with first off is for people who have yet to meet you, who is Terry Beard? Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Terry Beard is a person who hangs onto the arm of God to make sure that he gets the direction that he needs and he doesn't leave him out of anything. Terry Beard is a person who is very determined, very, very determined, very driven. I am competitive, but mostly against myself. Mostly against myself. My dad taught me, he said, you don't worry about anybody else's pockets but your own. He said, whatever your business is, he said, you tend to that and let everybody else tend to theirs. That's something that I've carried with me. That's why I'm very competitive against myself. I believe that whatever somebody else has obtained, that's for them. And whatever is for me is that something God can bless me to obtain. But whether or not, I still have to work for it. It's not going to just be handed to me. And so anything that's been negative in my life, I've always had to try to use that as fuel to continue to push forward. That's the kind of person I am. I don't like being told no.
Hmm.
I just don't. Not when I know it can be yes. And when you know when somebody's telling you no just because they can.
Right.
Not because it's actually something that they can't do, it's impossible, but it's something that they just don't want to cooperate with you. So then you got to just make your own path, just like water. You let water run long enough, it's going to create its own path.
Hmm.
It just will. That's not just this overly used anecdote. It's a fact. That's why we have the Grand Canyon. That's why when you leave the water in your house, it tears your house up. It just
Right.
over time, it's just going to do damage. It's going to make its own path. So that's who I am, brother. That's basically me.
Okay. All right. That is a very thoughtful answer. Because it what you have to say intrigued me about the likening of the path to water and making its own path, and it seems like you're adamant about make carving out your own path. With that in mind, to our audience, could you explain the concept of WANOA, which is for those who aren't familiar with the term, is we are not our ancestors. Could you explain a little bit of that to our audience?
I would love to. Mr. Polite, that goes along with my initial introductory statement. In this country, we've had to get everything out of the mud because if people could find a way to make money off of mud, they'd do it, and then we wouldn't even have that. So,
Mm,
where I live and where a lot of us live, we are not the dominant society. And we have had to learn to do with less and with nothing and come together just so we can all survive. I am a huge 70s guy because I
mm,
was born in 1970, but I'm a huge 70s guy.
mm,
And I come from people my wife and I both come from people who are Depression era children. My wife's grandfather was a Tuskegee Airman.
mm,
My folks in Kansas, they helped newly freed slaves under the Kansas Homestead Act. We're in the KSU archives, the Beard family. This
Mm,
is no joke. No joke. So I always remember whose shoulders I stand on. And I remember my mom telling me how she had to go to school where they had a pail for lunch. Well, that's why they call them lunch boxes now. We
mm,
modern kids, we call them lunch boxes. Back then they had a pail. She said
mm,
she had to swing that pail every day she went to school because
mm,
they was always calling her something. Dad, when he worked for the railroad, he said he had to sleep on the side of the road with a gun because he remembers seeing black people hung in the park when he would try to go to jobs because then it's not like now where I can share quarters with my coworkers because I'm a third generation railroader.
mm,
He had to sleep on the side of the road. So when you have that kind of foundation and that's what you're standing on, well, you're going to continue that. And
right.
the home of your foundation, the foundation of your home may be intact, but maybe the interior may need to be updated.
Mm,
It works good, it still works functional, but it can bring more value. That
mm,
doesn't mean what my mother and father, my mom, my wife's mother and father, they were there in 1963 when that church got bombed. They said they were in church that day and they felt the the aftermath of that 1.5 to 2 miles away. She and I
mm,
both just stand and we all do. So when I saw that last thing in Alabama on that boat where they all got in the fight on that boat when the I don't know if you call him a dock master or whatever his position was, he was just doing his job and telling those people to move. Can you
right.
please move your boat? They wouldn't do it. They wanted to fight him about it.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw that brother,
Hmm. Yeah.
I saw that brother put that chair. He didn't just pick the chair up. That chair touched his back. I said, "Oh no." I said, "He meant that." I said, he's coming for some get back. People get
Mm,
tired.
yeah.
People get tired just trying to exist. So when I saw that, I said, we are no longer afraid.
Yeah.
That when I saw that, I was like, whatever, we coming. And then
Mm,
the young brother, they were calling him Aquaman. He jumped in the
yeah.
river and he was swimming. I said, oh no.
Yeah. That was.
I said, it's on deck now. I said, but see, that comes a long way from being afraid of repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I saw that, that's when I came up with this and mapped it out, drew it out, planned it out. This design is federally trademarked with the federal government, so it's its
Mm,
own brand. It's okay. It's something I'm very proud of, and I have a lot of people who wear it and they absolutely love it. And that's where that all started.
mm. Right. That's a powerful, background story to share.
Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah.
True.
Mm,
And that's just one instance, and there's so many of us investing and so many of us buying property and doing just things that our ancestors had wished, hoped, dreamed, worked for us. And my dad had a fourth grade education. My wife's father, he about grade 4 or 5 because they had to work, you
mm,
know. And both of our mothers, both of them went to college, you know. Her mother was the first beautician here in the
mm-hmm,
city we lived in Nebraska here. First black beautician to own her
mm,
own hair salon. You know, my dad, he did a lot of things around here. So we just stand on some very determined people. And I owe that to them to continue
mm,
to push forward.
right. Right. Definitely. I wanted to ask you a little bit about uh you in one of your articles you spoke about some of the health challenges you faced.
Hmm.
I wanted to ask you, how did the health challenges motivate you to change your habits?
Well, that's a wonderful question. Now, you ever drank Kool-Aid?
Of course, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I actually knew
yeah.
the answer, but I didn't,
I
just
didn't
trying
want
to
to
just be
didn't make assumptions. Okay, yeah, I get it.
right, right. I don't want to be like, oh, he's black, he drank Kool-Aid. So you know how much sugar we put in that Kool-Aid.
True.
You,
True. Yeah,
if you gonna drink, if you did it right, you'd have half a bag. You go to your friend's house
yeah,
and who are not black, and you drink their Kool-Aid, and you go, "What is this?
yeah,
This ain't nothing but water in here."
yeah.
So you know how we do. So my family was diabetic, and you really, Mark, you think it's never going to happen to you. That's the worst thing you could ever do is think it's not happening to you. So you're not taking the steps to prevent it.
Mm,
So one day I was trying to get life insurance. This was years ago.
mm,
And my buddy, who's also a banker, he said, Terry, you got to go to the doctor. I said, what are you talking about? Now I weighed 302 pounds and I was still doing pull-ups. Just
mm,
I still worked out. And so he goes, Terry, you gotta go to the doctor. They said your number's off the chart. I said, I didn't know what he was talking about. Now I used to go to Kmart with my mom. I know you remember Kmart, I'm sure,
mm.
where she would
Yeah.
go get her insulin and stuff. And I would tell myself, man, I'm never gonna be like that. Well, I was already there. So I was
Mm,
having pains where I shouldn't have them. There are certain times I couldn't feel the nerves in my leg. That is a sure sign of where it was killing that diabetes. It's you're sugar deficient and it kills your nerves. Your body starts redlining. What do I mean? You're peeing out all that sugar, your body's not processing it, so it's using fat storage. So it's not efficient anymore.
mm,
So I had a brother who passed away in his sleep from diabetes, type 2.
mm,
And so the doctor said, you have to lose 50 pounds. I said, okay, then what? He says, well, you got to keep it off. I said, what if I lose 100 pounds? And he just looked at me. I said, doctor, it's up to you to advise me, but it's up to me to manage my health. I do not want to be one of those past tense stories where I had another patient and he didn't listen to me.
mm,
And so after that, I started doing that. And as you get older, it gets a lot tougher because your metabolism isn't up. And so even though I can throw weights around in the gym still, I
mm,
still had to watch my diet. So
mm,
this is the analogy. Your body needs fuel and it needs a specific type of fuel.
mm,
You can slow your body down or you can take away from its efficiency by the type of fuel you put in it. So if you put a lot of oily foods in it, you're going to clog your veins. If you use a lot of sugar, you're going to affect the amount of insulin that your body is able to produce. So in that sugar that's in your blood, that's your natural energy level.
mm,
See, I had to learn all this stuff. So if you go and put diesel in a car in a gasoline powered engine, your engine's gone.
mm,
And it's vice versa. It's just the type of fuel that you have to be careful with.
mm,
And that is how that all started. And
mm,
so I lost 100 pounds. I was able to keep it off, and that's when I started Evolve Gear. And um, I had a little bit of pecan pie yesterday. I mean, I haven't had it in a year.
oh,
I just had a
okay.
little piece, and then my contractor he came over, so I shoved it at him. I said, "Here, take this and get this out of here, because that
Mhm,
pecan pie will be gone." Yeah,
mhm.
so I have to go with moderation, sir.
Right.
It's not easy though.
No, it's not.
It's not easy. It's I don't think I need a Burger King crown for doing what I'm doing. I just know I just know that I just know that
Hmm.
for my own sake that I have to be careful, you
Right.
know. Yeah, and that's how that started.
Oh, okay. All right. Hmm. And you spoke a little bit about the evolve
About
gear.
evolve gear.
Yes, but about evolve gear, right? I wanted to
Uh-huh.
No, for the audience, yeah, at home. Do you have any summer outfits that you'll be unveiling for Evolve Gear, like a summer line? Anything like that?
I I actually already have them. I have to update the images on that because I changed the design of the front. I went with a whole different one, and I have to do that. And
Mm,
I had some issues with my website a little bit ago, and they finally got it all back up and going.
mm,
It's being a business owner, as you know, it is not.
yes,
You're not sitting around drinking Mai Tais and looking at your feet on the beach. You're taking care of everything.
right.
It's this. It's not for the faint.
No, it's not for the weak of heart.
It's
It's
really
not.
not. It's just not. And so I do have those, and I
Mm,
do have shorts and everything. And for a while, they were having problems out west
okay.
when the dock workers strike, brother Mark.
Mm,
When they go on strike, guy can't get clothing,
mm-hmm.
and then the clothing that I'm able to get, what happens to the price?
Of course, tariffs goes up, all that.
Yeah. Then people go, well, you charge it too much. Well,
Yeah, right.
I don't have a choice. So I do have that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
excuse me. And I do have that. I have shorts.
Mm,
I have the performance t-shirts.
okay.
I have long sleeve, short sleeve. I have hats. I'm not wearing one today, but I have bucket hats.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a new source for my clothes where I live now. He's a good friend of mine, and we've been talking about him sourcing some clothes so I don't have to drive 50 miles to get my products. So everything is just
Mm-hmm.
kind of sewn up. I was in an accident um 2 or 3 years ago, and I've been rebuilding since then.
Mm,
And that was another journey. My my trademarked motto for Evolve Gear was to win, lose fear. So I had to continually utter my own words to myself to encourage myself. I did
mm,
not want to just quit.
right. Okay. So awesome. So, hmm. Okay, we're coming towards the end of our time. So, this has really been like eye-opening, but I also
Thank you.
wanted to ask you, just so nothing's left out, is there anything else you would like for our audience to know about you and your endeavors?
I'm going to be brutally honest. At 56, if there's something you want to do, you go do it.
Mm,
Really sit yourself down and say, am I willing to do what it takes to try to do this? The money's not going to come right away. If it does, hey, that's great.
mm,
Tyler Perry, how long did he do those plays before he actually sold out? And
mm,
then everything just took off. I think he did those plays for 3, 4, 5 years, maybe close to
mm,
10 before it takes a while. You have to be prepared just to stay with it. And
mm,
but what you're doing, make sure it's a quality product.
right.
Step out there with quality and make sure that you keep your word.
Mm,
Make sure you do that. That's also something my dad taught me. It,
mm-hmm,
but if you really want to do something, you make sure you count up all the costs, like the scriptures say, before you do that,
mm-hmm,
and then you go full throttle with that plan,
mm,
and just keep going with no's until you get a yes. Because Lord's will, there'll be more yeses behind that.
mm,
And you may not want to spend the money right away, but it will be necessary. I have a wonderful publicist. I really do. She's a wonderful publicist,
mm,
and she looks out for me. She looks out for me. So you will have to invest in yourself as well.
mm-hmm. Indeed. Indeed. So awesome. So, Terry Beard, thank you so much for granting Platinum Society this interview. And can you just mention really quickly your website for the people at
I
home?
absolutely. It's www.wanoa.net.
Okay.
And it's see, that's my wife in the background. That was her. See, I just can't just be me, I just gotta so
Yeah.
just to keep the harmony in the house, let me do this. www.wanoa.net. See?
Okay.
See that humility? You
Yeah,
see that?
I know how it is. I know.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
keep the harmony of the
Right.
house. So
Feel
now I did it my way and I did
you.
it her way. So
Yeah.
there's there's your compromise.
Okay. Cool. So awesome. So awesome.
Thank you for
So
your time. Thank you for
yeah.
allowing me on your show. I
Okay.
I'm grateful to you for that.
Okay. Thank you for coming on. All right then. Stop. Okay, I'm gonna